Johnny Steed comes up with Santos's fumble recovery right there, and that was a big play in the ball game and kept them out of the end zone.
Here's Jimmy reading the wishbone again, and then you're going to go to Robbie Krause, and Robbie's a fine-looking young man.
Hey, Robbie probably in the last 3 weeks has improved as much as anybody in our football program. To be honest with you, Robbie lost handle on the ball there simply because he's trying to make second effort and because he's trying to get the extra yard. We can't fault him for that. The dead-gone official should have gotten out of the way in that situation.
I thought Terry Mackey played another great game for you. There's the score at the end of the third quarter, folks. And right now you're in pretty good shape. You're driving against Pat Evans. I looked at him after the game. I've never seen a back that was as bruised up as his was.
Well, look at the tremendous second effort. That's the way Pat plays every play, and what a great role model he is for our football team.
Look at that.
This was a big play. Watch that ball turnover.
Oh.
I'm telling you the truth. Mark averaged 50 yards kicking the ball. We out-kicked them 16 yards, but that play got their defense in a deep hole back there.
Well, you held them, and you've got the ball back again.
We sure did, and that's a fine executed play by Jimmy right there. Fine run by Mark, and, you know, we were able to move the ball, John, consistently all night long.
Here's Pat Evans. Look at this run right here.
Oh, you know, he almost broke it. Just for that one shoestring tackle right there, I think he would have carried the thing. And that's Johnny Smith, and we used Johnny some at fullback position in this game because we knew we had to establish the fullback game, and we wanted to give Pat a breather. And it wasn't that we were disappointed with the other guys that have been playing there, but Johnny's such a fine inside runner. Another great play. They were going downtown with the ball, and of course, you know, I guess they saw a Utah film and they realized that we'd given some big play. But now look at the pressure there by Johnny Steed and Steve Spiewak. And of course, you know, there's nothing more distressing to a quarterback than to have this to happen right here.
Yeah.
And that's a great play with Johnny. And again, I think our conditioning is really, really the thing that's making the biggest difference right here, because I'm telling you, that offensive front was as big as any offensive front we've played this year.
They were real tired, no doubt about it, late in the ball game, and that's where we are right there. Pat Evans still running as hard as he did at the beginning of the ball game. This is the final game, final play of the game, as Air Force wins it 22-10, and we're going to talk more about it in a second, but Coach, you're on top of the Western Athletic Conference.
Well, that's the place we'd like to be, and you know, we knew the significance of the football game. But you know, the thing I thought that was so evident in helping us win that football game, John, was we kept that football 13 minutes of the fourth quarter. You know, and that was our whole offensive game plan going in. And, of course, our defense did such a great job keeping a very explosive offensive football team out of the end zone there the whole second half. And then Mark had that great 55-yard punt that put them deep in their territory. And, you know, when you got a lot that far to go with a football, it's tough to get points.
You know, I saw you right at the beginning of the fourth quarter. You held up the 4. You were telling everybody the fourth quarter is ours.
Well, we believe, honestly, that if we go in even at the fourth quarter ahead, we're going to win the football game. Because I tell you, our football team is going to be in good physical shape. And we felt that really had as much to do. And talking with our players after the game, we felt their players were real tired, and we felt our players were fresh, and they knew what they had to do in that fourth quarter.
All right, Coach, we're going to have all our regular features, a player profile, we'll meet an assistant coach, and take a look at life at the academy. We'll have all of that right after this. San Diego State fans were?
Well, you know, John, we had a lot of Air Force personnel to come up from Norton Air Force Base, March Air Force Base, and of course there's a big parents contingent out there, but we had a good crowd, you know, to go from the academy, and they really were vocal. There's no question about it. But hey, that drum and bugle corps makes so much difference, and is such a motivating fact for all of us.
It certainly does, and also the cheerleaders are a big part of Falcon football, and here's Lee Douglas with a look at the AFA cheerleaders.
Now, this is just a small portion of what the Air Force Academy cheerleaders do for the football team each and every game. The true fans out there, win or lose, the cheerleaders are always behind the Falcons. Now, the cheerleading squad consists of 8 girls and 8 guys. And oh yeah, one big bird. And in many ways, their success has paralleled the football team's rise to stardom.
The program 4 years ago when we first started, it was really bad. It wasn't a very good program, it wasn't very professional. And now we're up at a high level. We went to one of the best camps in the nation. We can compete, I think, this year. We're not the best.
But they're getting close. Every summer, the cheerleaders go to camp. Last summer, the camp consisted of several Big 8 and Big 10 schools, along with Texas. And the Falcon Yell Callers won the overall Spirit Award. And even the bird was best mascot.
A lot of stuff he does is ad-lib. That's why he's so good at it.
He ad-libs pretty well, doesn't he?
He's very good at it.
We learned the most we've ever learned anywhere. We learned a lot of stunts that make the crowd gasp, you know, a lot of dances that make people look, and a lot of new cheers rather than the old same old boring stuff.
And none of this comes easy. It takes many hours of practice each and every week to get everything just right, even when things aren't going just right on the football field.
Especially the last game with Notre Dame, we cheered to the very end, but that's our job.
And it's a job well done. For Air Force Football 86, I'm Lee Douglas.
Coach, you know, they're really pretty good athletes and gymnasts themselves.
You're doggone right to do some of the acrobatics that they do, I'm telling you. And that tumbling and pyramid building and everything, they've got to be good athletes, but they work just as hard as the football team, and that's why I'm so proud that we recognize them. But I'm so proud of our bird. You know, John, I don't know if our audience knows this or not, but he was voted as the top mascot, performing mascot of all the colleges and universities across America last year. And we featured him at our quarterback clubs last week, and I think they really enjoyed having him there. But, hey, I'll tell you one thing. We might have one of the prettiest cheerleading corps in the whole country also.
That's for sure. All right, Coach, we're going to now take a look at one of your assistants who you coached with at a different school. Here's a look at running back coach Ken Rucker. If you're a running back at the Air Force Academy and you expect to play, you'd better know how to block.
We cannot run the wishbone if our halfbacks cannot block. It's that important. We have to have an offensive lineman's attitude when it comes to blocking. And you know, it's just simple as one and two. If we don't get the block, we're not going to get the score. And so we sell our guys on this, and shoot, it's just as important to throw a key block on your buddy running a 20 or 60-yard touchdown as it is for you to run that touchdown.
Ken Rucker is in his third season with Air Force as running back coach. He first met Fisher Deberry in 1979 when both men were on the staff at Appalachian State.
Knowing Fisher and knowing this program, I didn't know a great deal about Air Force, but I knew it was something special for Fisher Deberry to stay out here for, you know, he had been here for 4 years at that time, and I knew it was something good to persuade a South Carolinian to leave South Carolina or back there in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina to come out here.
When I asked Coach Rucker just what he enjoys the most about coaching at the Academy, it didn't take him long to answer.
The enthusiasm of the cadets. Sometimes I can have a bad day myself, and I can go out and my players can lift me right up because of their attitude and just the enthusiasm. And this football team has a special type of feeling among themselves, and the institution itself has that type of feeling. People really care about each other here.
Ken is not the only football fan in the Rucker family. His wife Nancy and daughter Kenny Lynette love the game also.
I tell you, we really enjoy this time of year if we've got a moment to sit down or go to another football game. My wife's an avid fan, and she probably knows more about it than I do. And in fact, she gives me some tips when I get home sometimes. But we really enjoy each other.
I know Kenny does quite a job for you.
Oh, you better believe it. And I just tell you one thing. The kids love him to death. He works the stew out of them, but he really gets results. And we're just so proud to have he and Nancy and little Kenny and our family here. And, you know, Kenny and I got to be really, really good friends back at Appalachian State University. And I just said to myself then, and I had so much respect for him, and I loved him so much that if I ever got the opportunity to be a head football coach, buddy, he would be one of the first guys I would contact.
Coach, I don't know if a lot of people realize that you've got your assistants out on the road right now doing recruiting.
Well, they sure are, John, and you know, recruiting is never over, and that's the lifeblood of our program, and, excuse me, you've got to really get out there, and we feel like with the opening date, it is very, very important for us to be out.
All right, we're going to come back and take a, well, we're not going to come back, we're going to take a look at a player. I don't want to get ahead of myself. A player who had a great game Saturday night, and that's wide receiver Tyrone Jeffcoat. Here again, Lee Douglas.
As a longtime Air Force football fan, I can think of a lot of highlights, a lot of memories, a lot of bits and pieces that come to mind. Some of them big, some not quite so big. And when I think of last year's 12-1 season, there's one pass catch that certainly comes to mind. The Notre Dame game, third quarter, Bart Weiss to Tyrone Jeffcoat. Only a 9-yard gain, but a spectacular one-handed grab that sets up a crucial field goal.
Actually, the route wasn't even called to me. It was called to the other side to Hugh Brennan, and Bart Weiss and I both picked up the blitz of the strong safety, and I just went to the area where the strong safety field, and Bart threw the ball. I won't say the best that he could, but he threw the ball, and I just did everything I could to try to catch it.
And that just happened to be the first catch of Tyrone Jeffcoat's Air Force career, but certainly not the last. He went on to catch 2 more last season, one against Hawaii, another against BYU, and that in a reserve role behind Ken Carpenter and crew. Well, this year he's number 1, so to speak. The starter and leader in receptions. He averages almost 19 yards a catch, and I think that directly reflects his speed. fact, this may be the fastest group of wide receivers ever.
4.6. And then there's Anthony Roberson runs 4.4. You know, we got a lot of speed out there. And I think the speed is helping us a lot in both running our routes and giving the quarterbacks open receiver quicker, and doing a lot of downfield blocking, getting after the backside corner and the free safety.
And that speed was very evident in Tyrone's 30-yard TD catch in the Navy game. But despite the speed and the big plays, the Falcons are still a wishbone team. The quarterbacks don't throw all that much, so Tyrone must display a great deal of patience waiting his turn. In fact, he alternates with the other receivers, bringing in the plays.
Sending the plays is kind of fun. You know, you go out, get a drink of water, come back, and you kind of, everyone else is sweating, tired. You're like kind of refreshing to the huddle when you come in with a smile and a new play.
And of all the seniors on the team, Tyrone's road